Welcome back guys to Voicey here and another r/EntitledParents. Don't forget Voicey veterans to like, subscribe and hit that bell to never miss an episode. This story was called My Ex-Boyfriend's Entitled Mother. So my entire family is full of entitled, narcissistic people, and I love having an anonymous account to vent about them. This first one is about my ex-boyfriend's crazy entitled mum. Small details changed to maintain privacy. He was my high school sweetheart and we started dating his senior year and my junior year. That entire relationship was, looking back on it, ridiculous and a crazy story in itself. His mum was nice to me, but she had these crazy moments when she would act entitled and go off. His sister was also nice to me, but like her mum, had entitled moments and would act like a snob. One incident was they invited me to go see the new Harry Potter movie that had just come out. Apparently, she bought the tickets ahead of time online and only had to walk inside to a machine to get them. Well, when we got to the theater, the machine had an out of order sign on it. She was ticked. She marched back outside to where the ticket counters were, cut everyone in line, and started going off on the poor employee.
Why the heck is your ticket machine out of order inside? Your website told me I could just go pick up our tickets, so I wouldn't have to wait in line.
Ma'am, I'm sorry, but...
Why can't I print my freaking tickets?
I am mortified by what is happening, but my ex and his sister are acting like everything is fine. His mum kept going on and on about the broken machine.
We're going to be late to the movie because of you!
Actually, we were late because the three of them took forever to get ready to go, and we were already late to begin with. Ma'am, I can print them for you right now! As soon as he held the tickets out, she snatched them and we went back inside. I felt so many evil looks on me from all the people standing in line. Because of her, we ended up getting seats in the very front of the theater because the room was already packed. We missed the first 15 minutes of the movie, and the entire time, she and my ex's sister were complaining on how it was the theater's fault we were late. Another time, I was invited out to again see another movie and get lunch to celebrate EM's birthday. We stopped at a burger place and went up to place our orders. While we were waiting for our food, a bunch of little kids entered with a few adults. I think they were part of a church group. The kids were between 5 to 7 years old and were running around like crazy. One of the adults was working to calm them down while the others went up to order lunch. After about 5 minutes, EM slams her hands on the table and storms to the counter.
I want a refund now! You people aren't doing anything about these freaking kids!
Again, I'm mortified. While my ex and his sister act like nothing is wrong and this is totally normal. The employee just fumbles around, trying to give her the refund, and the whole time, she keeps screaming about the kids that were running around. As soon as she started screaming, the kids run to the adults they are now with and cry. Heck, I wanted to cry too with the way that she was acting. One of the adults went to EM. Miss, I know the kids were loud, but we were trying to keep them under control. You had no right to scream and cuss like that in front of them. EM gets right in her face.
Step away from me, or I swear I'll punch you in the freaking face. I don't care about you freaking kids.
The adult stepped away looking scared, and EM demanded we leave and get back into her car. We ended up going to another burger place and they all acted like nothing had happened. We got to the theater and got to our seats. We were seeing one of the Twilight movies. Don't judge me. They wanted to see it, not me. And yeah, even my ex was excited for it. The theater wasn't full, but had 3 teenage girls a few rows in front of us who were talking loudly and giggling like crazy. EM starts to turn red and looks like she's about to explode again.
I swear, if they don't shut up!
Hold on, I'll go get the manager. He can ask them to quiet down. I am desperately trying for her to not cause another scene and hope the manager can just politely tell the girls to be respectful during the movie. Also note, the movie hadn't even started yet. Previews hadn't even begun yet. I grabbed the manager, politely explained what was going on, and he followed me to the theater. As soon as we entered, we both heard it. The screaming. She was going off on the girls, and all 3 of them were crying. The manager ended up demanding we all leave before he called the police. We left with her screaming at everyone, and me walking out completely embarrassed. She drove us across town to another theater to watch the movie. The final incident I remember well happened at his house. Me and my ex were hanging out in his room, watching a movie, when we heard her start screaming. My ex ran out of the room, but a moment later, came casually walking back in like nothing was wrong. Is everything okay? No, Mum can't get onto her World of Warcraft account. His family was majorly into World of Warcraft. But why is she screaming? They do something? Because they messed with her connection. Isn't that an internet problem? Mum says it's their fault. They need to fix it so she can play. I didn't even hear exactly what she was saying, but she kept screaming for about 30 minutes. There have been several more incidences, but I can't remember all of the details of each one. Those 3 scenarios are the ones I remember the most. Honestly, if I bought tickets online and the machine was out of order, if the line was really long, I don't know if I'd cut the line. I'd probably just go up to the person who checks the tickets and say, hey, I ordered online, here's the payment that I made. The machine's broken, we're gonna miss the movie if we have to line up, so can we just go in? And either the guy's gonna not care and just let you in, or he'll probably bring you to the front himself and be like, hey, can you sort these guys out? Okay, awesome, yeah, go inside. It's really sad when you know that the kids aren't surprised by their mother's behavior. It's just like, yeah, that's just what she does. I don't know if that then normalizes the behavior for themselves. Like when they become the parents, they just do that as well because that's just what they expect. Hopefully the other people around them can maybe give some insight that it's not exactly acceptable social behavior. This story is called My Son is in the Next Classroom. So quick info, the place I teach in has big windows on the walls between the classrooms, and the wall between the classrooms and hallway. One class is roughly 10 students. This little play actors are me, the entitled mother, let's call her EM as tradition seems to have it here, and the kids of my class. So I'm teaching class, everything is going well, and the kids are pretty focused, though we talk and joke a bit as well. When suddenly EM comes in the hallway. We normally forbid parents from entering classrooms during the class, because we strongly advocate for kid independence and letting them experiment without parents breathing down their neck. We have special times for sharing with their family after the class, which we set up for that very purpose. So EM is in the hallway and she peers into every classroom to locate her kid. She finally finds him in the classroom next to mine, which is the only room to not have direct windows into it from the hallway, just the door, which is closed. So the only way to see the inside of that room is through the wall in my room. So EM can't wave her kid, and so she decided to enter my classroom, to then start waving at him in the middle of my class, disturbing it quite thoroughly, kicking the kid's bags around as she paces. Now, I rarely deal with entitled parents because I do not tolerate bullcrap in any form, and I can have a bit of a short temper. My kids know how little bullcrap I take, and they all like that with me, the rules are clear-cut, so they know what's about to happen. And they all look at EM with the happy, cruel, oh she's gonna get it, look of kids seeing someone else get scolded. I cough once to get her attention, and as she turns around, I stare her down like the rude fool she is. And then, what? Me in a calm and level voice. Ma'am, in case you failed to notice, I'm having a class, so you're going to return outside. But my son is in that other classroom, and I wanted to see him. Ma'am, the children I teach are capable of understanding such clear and simple instructions easily enough. Are you not able to do the same? As I say this, I point to my kids, and they are all holding back laughs. Yes, in a minute, my son! Me cutting her off, making her glare at me. Ma'am, your son isn't the one interrupting my class. He's following his own class. I've asked you to get out because your presence disturbs my class. You will leave now. At this point, my kids start laughing, because the now is usually my trump card with any of them that make trouble. If I use the now in that very special tone, it means they're pretty much screwed. And the next step after this is me calling their parents. In this case, it would be me calling my manager, but EM finally got the hint and left the room. Under the kids' laughs and grumbling about how she would talk with the manager about my conduct in class and my education skills. At which point I turned to the kids with a big smile. I did not get in any sort of trouble. EM got a second lecture from my manager about how parents are not to enter a classroom unless it's an emergency, and her own kid, when class ended, gave her a very loud complaint about the whole thing. I thought protocol for most schools was you had to sign in at the front desk with the receptionist, which means she either disregarded what the receptionist had to say, lied to them to try and get into the classrooms, or completely ignored the whole process and just basically broke into the school trespassing. This story was called Entitled Lady Has Meltdown Over Kindles. Hello, I'm a big follower of this subreddit, and as a retail worker, I empathize greatly with many of these posts. Now, I work at an office supply store, whose name is the one that binds your papers together, during my time off of college. I'm part of what the local district calls the Three Musketeers, because my two best friends also work at this same store. Me and my other best friend got the job there because BF1 recommended it. We are known for being honest, hardworking, and getting these things done quickly, no questions asked. Needless to say, I'm a good employee. The story, which happened about 2 years ago now, includes as follows. Me, Spaghetti, just a measly cashier for the time being. KTM, kinda terrible manager. He low-key is mean, but not in this scenario. EL, Entitled Lady. It was near Christmas, which says enough already. I usually get put on register, even though I dislike it, because I'm quick and efficient. I don't call the manager every 5 seconds. Anyways, it is a common practice among all techie retail stores that if another store has an item you want in stock, the store can hold it for the customer, and the customer comes and picks it up. Now this is usually denoted by a handwritten note labeled next to the item, which is usually behind the main register. If it's a big ticket item that stays in lockup, then just a note. So here I am, and this lady comes up, saying that some other store called our store to hold 2 Kindle Fires for her. At first I assume it's a BOPIS, buy online, pick up in store. I ask for her last name and look around and find nothing. I look around for a note, there is none. I call the tech over the headset, he has no idea. I ask the entitled lady if she is sure this is the store they called, not one of the 4 others in our district. She gets upset and says, "Yes, this is it. They promised they would hold him here." Keep in mind, there are other customers behind her now. I'm getting stressed because this looks like it'll take a hot second. The managers are not answering their headset and I'm flustered. The entitled lady keeps going on and on about how they promised they would hold them for me. Where are they? Why don't you know? They're mine. They called you, didn't they? I am literally at the bottom of the totem pole in this place. People don't tell me anything in a lot of situations. I try to explain this to her and she looks like she is about to break down in tears and also scream at me. She must have been like 40-ish years old, but her skin looked like she smoked a few packs a day. So maybe even older. Finally, KTM enters and greets the customer, asking her about the problem, which she definitely overdramatized and uses her child words like, "You promised." The manager says that there is a possibility that they've been sold, which she looks like she's gonna rupture.
"I reserved them. If you can't find them, I'm going to throw a fit."
Her exact words, everyone. This 40-something is going to throw a fit over 2 Kindle Fires. Anywho, I'm busily checking people out while KTM searches and searches for these freaking Kindles. All while she's huffing and puffing like she is 2 years old. She gives me the, "I am pitiful, find my stuff, if you don't I will yell and scream and it's all your fault" type look. By the time I'm checking out the last person, KTM appears with the 2 Kindle Fires, and she just releases this super over-dramatic sigh and grabs for them like she bought them already. KTM checks her out, and I tell the 2 other musketeers that this lady was about to cry over some Kindles, and we share a good laugh. I can half sympathize with this entitled lady. Like, it's pretty frustrating when you go to a store and they don't have it in stock. They're like, "Oh yeah, we can call this store and they'll hold it for you." And so then you drive out to the other store, and if they didn't have it in stock there, yeah, I would be pretty ticked. It's a bit unclear whether they actually did hold them the whole time, but they were just lost somewhere in the back, or they ended up getting 2 more for her. I mean, she shouldn't have lost her cool, that's where she went wrong. What she should have done was like, "Hey, can you call the original store? They just called through here and they were supposed to reserve them for me." And that way you don't have to work anything out with them, they have to sort it out all between themselves. Post your stories, memes, and fan art at r/VoiceyHere. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that bell to never miss an episode. Alright, Voicey veterans, I'll see you in the next one.